Thanks, Ceann Corlin. I don't think any of the workers or passengers will be taking any great solace from the Taoiseach's no privatisation comments, given so many broken promises that you've already stood over. But in any case, Taoiseach, the last day we were here when Deputy Wallace was trying to jolt your memory regarding your inaction in relation to problems with senior Gardaí in the Athlone area, little did we know that at that very time representatives of the Department of Justice were in the process of contacting the family of Fr Niall Molloy, giving them less than an hour's notice at which the Minister was going to publish for the media the outcome of the McGinn report into their uncle's murder. A report that she'd sat on for 4 months, a report that, let's remember, was a paper review of a Garda investigation, and a report which the Minister later said acknowledged that there were unanswered questions and very serious shortcomings in the investigation, but concluded, sure, it's too long ago now and we'll never find out the truth. But of course what she didn't say was that the terms of reference of that report were preordained to have that outcome, when McGinn himself said that his task was not to establish the truth or to even venture an opinion about the truth, but simply to identify issues of public importance or concern that might warrant further investigation. In other words, the truth is out there somewhere, but we're not going to bother getting it. Now, in fairness, McGinn did find a number of issues. A fact that the Gardaí failed to identify and interview witnesses and neighbours, the fact that no statements were taken from the solicitor to whom Niall Molloy went to shortly before his death about the financial problems he was having with the Flynns, that there was no analysis of the forensic evidence in relation to blood and fingerprint samples which were taken at the scene, and critically, the important fact that the opinion of Dr. Michael Farrell, expert neuropathologist to whom John Harbison deferred, that his opinion wasn't sought, and that opinion confirmed that Niall Molloy took 3 to 6 hours to die. In other words, as McGinn's saying, establishing that the account given by Richard and Teresa Flynn was not accurate. But he went on to say, well, it didn't say how it happened. And the question I want to put to you, Taoiseach, is, of course it didn't, because such information could only come out of an independent commission of investigation, which incidentally was recommended by the Serious Crime Review. So, Taoiseach, what I want to ask is, I presume that you're aware that this is only one of over 300 historic cases of Garda malpractice currently being considered by the independent review mechanism. I presume you're aware that the Minister has already teed up that a large percentage of these cases will likely represent no action. So my question, Taoiseach, is, can we now take it that this review is nothing more than a fig leaf to divert attention from serious allegations of Garda malpractice, a bit of a stunt like replacing the Minister and the Commissioner, and that the people who submitted these cases can expect to be re-victimised and re-violated? And do you really think that the Molloy family, or Cynthia Owen, who was raped and impregnated at the age of 11, and her child murdered, is going to leave it at that? And if you were really serious about Garda reform, you've got to deal with the past before you can deal with the future.
Taoiseach.
The 300 cases that the Deputy refers to are comprised of issues that were brought to my own attention here in the House and that were brought to the attention of the Minister for Justice by yourself and Deputy Wallace and a number of others and members of the public who sent in particular cases. The vast majority of these have been assessed by an independent legal team to look at these, to look at the issues contained in these cases. Now, you may have information that I don't have myself, in that you seem to have knowledge of what the outcome of the examination of the vast majority of these cases is or will be. The Minister for Justice has confirmed that she will commence writing to the members of the families involved, Deputy Daly, in the next short period with the report of the legal team which has assessed all of these cases. Father Molloy is deceased, and nothing we say here is going to bring him back. The government did consider and did accept the McGinn report in the last number of weeks, having been presented to the Minister for Justice. So Minister has confirmed that she will commence the process of informing members of the families in respect of those cases that were referred both to the Department of Justice, the Department of Taoiseach and so on, and in respect of which an independent legal team was set up to analyse and go through the issues that are contained in those cases. I might say that many of them have been considered at various levels over the years, and to be honest with you, I don't know the details of the response that will issue in respect of these cases, because I haven't seen the report from that legal team.
The information that I have access to, Taoiseach, is actually the Dáil record, and I would have presumed that if the Minister for Justice is in correspondence and contact with you, that she would have told you what she's actually stated on the public record, that because of the absence of the passage of time and other issues, she expects no action to be taken in a majority of cases. And it's not good enough for you to say it's tragic that Father Molloy is dead. His family know that, but they have been devastated by the outcome of this report. And what they can't figure out is how your government can correctly pardon somebody who was hanged in 1941 based on a re-examination of that case, but you expect us to believe that you can't re-examine Father Niall Molloy's case, which took place in 1985, even though 8 out of 11 of the witnesses present in the room are still alive, and that forensic evidence, which was never examined, is presumably still there. Now, I don't think you realise the seriousness of these cases, Taoiseach. You haven't really addressed the bigger picture about dealing with the past before we can deal with the future. And I am a little bit worried about your memory at this stage. I know you've had trouble recalling some things, but maybe you remember one of the cases that you've referred to the review panel. This is a question, Ceann Comhairle, of a person who contacted you last year and who told you that he had had information of Garda being present in a room when a civilian was shot by Garda and being ordered by his superiors to say that he wasn't present. Now, you passed this case on to the review panel. I'd like you to consider the fact that in the past number of months, not one person from that review panel has contacted him, asked him what murder, who was murdered, who was there. Now, how in God's name can a review panel recommend anything if that's the type of shoddy investigation that's going on? How can a review panel deal with the case of Shane Tuohy, who was murdered in February 2000, when you don't consider information that was submitted? Would you not be honest and admit it's a joke, not an independent investigation at all?
Deputy Daly, the position here is that we compiled approximately 300 cases that came from various sources. Many of these were dealt with through elements of the legal process over very many years. In order to assess these cases, because of the serious nature of many of them, a legal panel with the responsibility to go through all of those files was set up. That is not being conducted by any individual member of the House here. There are 300 cases involved. It's not for me to say why members of the family of anybody that you mention haven't been contacted by the legal team. I'm quite sure that that will happen. They haven't concluded their work on all of the 300 cases yet. But in the areas where they have concluded their findings and presented their findings, Minister will commence corresponding and writing to the families involved very shortly. The Minister has already made it clear that she is quite happy to meet with members of the family of the late Father Molloy if they so wish, and she's also put that on the public record. Maybe my memory is not as faulty as you imagine.